It's time to get my spices under control, and while I'm doing that, I'll show you how we store the rest of our food items in our tiny Airstream kitchen.
Hi everybody, I'm Paul.
And I'm Amber. Welcome to our channel. Okay, it's time to get a grip on my spices. I'm going to go ahead and start the process and then work on it a little bit over the next few days. So the first thing I'll do is I'll show you the jars that I decided to use and tell you why. So these are the small ball jars. Amazon, they're little jelly jars. They're 4 ounces. Amazon had a sale for 3 cases of these, so that's 36 for, I forget how much, but it was a really good deal, and I'll put the link below. And I needed one more case, so I just bought one single case and then the package of 3 cases to equal 48. I have a lot of spices, y'all. Okay, so I don't want to use these screw lids. I just don't want to mess with those. So what I did is I bought a package of these white lids that are just screw on, and then also I can use chalk marker and just put the name of the spice on the top. And they're real easy because I can erase them if I wanted to use the jar for a different spice later. But I bought 2 packages of those, and again, I will leave the link below. Now, why I decided to go with these is just pretty simple. Number one is that these will stack on top of each other very easily, and I'll show you my shelf, which is why I wanted to be able to stack them. The other reason is because it had a wide opening, and usually when I'm using spices, I am using a measuring spoon and scooping out what I need. I like that. Easy, and they stack. So for those of you who have been with us a while, you may remember that when we installed the washer and dryer, Paul actually used some dead space that we were going to have, and he made me a spice drawer. Let me show you what it looks like now. This spice cabinet, I love that Paul built me, but I have more spices than this will hold. So right now, with all of these tall ones, I can only fit so many in here. But if I take them out and I put them in these jars, then I can stack them up and I can fit twice as many spices in here. And that's really my goal. Because if you look at this other drawer that I have under the bench, I have a bunch of spices thrown under there too. It's horrible. I'm like, I have a lot of spices. Don't judge. My goal for today is just simple. I'm going to take these 48 new ball jars and I'm going to wash them all along with the plastic lids. That's my goal today. Let them dry, and then tomorrow I'll start actually changing out the spices. Okay, I got all the jars done. There's a lot of them. Now I'm going to go ahead and wash those plastic lids, and then I'll be done with that. And then I will show you some ways that I organize all of our other food items. So this is interesting. I have bought the Ball brand of the white lids before. But these are not specifically Ball brand lids, although they fit the Ball jars. And these actually come with these rubber seals that go on the inside of the lids. And that is actually really good because that means it'll have a better seal and it'll keep my spices fresher. So I got these on Amazon, and I'll put the link below for this kit. All right, Now that all these are drying, and that's all I'm going to do today for the spices. We'll finish that up tomorrow. But I'll show you some of the ways that I organize our other food items in this Airstream. I do a lot of baking and a lot of cooking in my Airstream. Some people that RV, they only cook outside. They rarely use their oven in their RVs. So it just depends on how you cook. And if you're thinking about going full time, let me just tell you, whatever you do now is probably what you're going to do in your RV. So if you cook all the time like I do, you'll cook all the time, most likely in your RV. If you go out to eat a lot and you cook out a lot, then that's probably what you're going to do when you go full-time RVing. So you have to think realistically about living in an RV. When we thought about going full-time RVing, I thought, oh, I'm going to do it this way. Or I have, in my mind, I was like, we're RVing, we're camping. So this is what I'm going to do. What you do at home is probably how your habits are going to be in your RV. So organize your space accordingly. Okay, so I have a lot of vinegars, a lot of oils. I make homemade vanilla. If you live in an RV of any kind, especially a small RV like an Airstream, that any square inch of cabinet that you have is precious, and you have to be very specific about how you organize those spaces so that you can optimize the small space that you have. And the way that I cook, I needed a dedicated space for this stuff because I use them all the time. So in this basket, I keep just a little cup with some plasticware in it for when the grandkids come over. I have a little thing like extra soy sauce bottles. I have some seasonings, 4 oils. I keep extra spouts for my oil bottles. And then I use a lot of coconut oil when I'm cooking. I have this is olive oil. I keep it in this bottle. I have balsamic vinegars, more balsamic vinegars. I have some apple cider vinegar. This is my homemade vanilla. More vinegars, more extra virgin olive oil. Dell's favorite. Hey, you guys, this is the best olive oil. So our friends, Frank and Renee, own Dell's favorite Texas Olive Ranch in Elgin, Texas. And this is their olive oil, and they are Harvest Host members. So if you are in the Austin area and want a great Harvest Host to stay at Dell's favorite Texas Olive Ranch. And let's see, red wine vinegar. This is vegetable oil, which I'm trying really not to use a lot of vegetable oil anymore. And then this is some organic canola oil, garlic flavored, that I got from IKEA, I think. So, lots of oils and stuff I keep in this cabinet, but I use all of them. For reference, our Airstream kitchen is not going to have the same layout of the exact same Airstream model that we have, which is the 2019 Flying Cloud 30 FB bunk. We converted the bunk, we redid the kitchen, we added a washer and dryer, we redid cabinets. So the top cabinets that you see, let me get a long shot of the kitchen. So those top cabinets that you see are original to this Airstream model. Lots of cabinet space. Not all of it is food, just a little bit. But our kitchen countertop is new that we did, and all of these drawers and the washer and dryer, the spice shelf, all of that Paul built. And we do have a video of when we remodeled our Airstream kitchen if you want to take a look at that. But I just wanted to give you a reference. This is a 30-foot Airstream, so mine may look different than yours, even if you have the same exact model. that brings me to something else that I wanted to say, and I don't mean to get all over the place, but when you are full-time RVing, whether you buy a new RV or not, or a used one, before you start to think about how you want to redo the space to be able to live in it more efficiently, and I suggest you do, because there is no perfect layout in an RV. If you get an RV, or if you have one now and it's fairly new, live in it for several months. I suggest at least 6 months. Make a note, write down the things that you don't have spaces for. Like, I need a space for this. I need a space for this. This isn't working for me. I need a space for my spices. I need this. Just keep a running list, because as you live in it for at least 6 months, you're going to know exactly what you need. If you are just guessing when you're buying an RV and saying, okay, I want to redo this, I want to redo that, as you get to living in that space, it's much different than just walking through it and guessing what you're going to need. So live in it for at least 6 months, and then you will know exactly what you need. You may not be able to accommodate modifications for all of those things, but you pick those things that are the most important and make them happen, whether it's, like I said, remodeling or organization. Now, our channel is about full-time RVing, specifically in an Airstream, but also just full-time RVing. And I just want to help you guys who might be new to this save money and not kind of make those mistakes we made with our first 3 RVs. So, all right, so we looked at the oil and vinegar and kind of bottle stuff. Now let me show you how I organize my baking drawer. And this is one of the drawers that Paul himself added. We used to have a couch here. For those of you who haven't watched our remodel video, this all used to be couch. And from here over to the stove was how small my kitchen cabinet was. And so we added all of that space, so I have one long kitchen cabinet. And you can see I have it filled with appliances and jars for fermenting vegetables and cookie jars and KitchenAids and espresso machines. But this is the way that I live. These are the things that are important to me, and this is how I want my space. So over here on one of these big drawers that Paul built, it's real deep. I use this for a lot of baking stuff. Now, I will admit, not all my baking stuff. I can't fit all my baking stuff in here. Another thing is that I use glass jars. Now, if you think that that's not very wise when you're bouncing down the road, I'll tell you, if you've wanted to do that, plastic containers work, and I do have some plastic containers. I just like glass, guys. This is what I would use in a house, and it's what I use here. So I bought the white lids that go onto the ball jars, and then I just use a chalk marker and write on what it is. We've had no problems with this glass breaking. Now, it's in a drawer, it's not in a cabinet, but I do have glass in a cabinet too. And I just put them in here. I don't even put towels between them. I just put it all in here, and I don't know. Ball jars are good, I guess. They just have not broken on us. And we have been down some rough roads. So in these top cabinets over by the stove, I only have 2 that I use for food. And I'm only showing you my food organization in this video. I can do another video on how I organize my dishes and all that later. In this cabinet, which is the one above the stove, I put most of the rest of my baking stuff. So I have flour. This is an extra flour. These are coffee beans for my espresso machine. I use glass. And then here's more coffee beans. Here, sorry, I'm the worst about doing this, but. And then back here is a plastic container, and that's brown sugar. And then on top of that brown sugar container, I just put my silicone things that I use for the oven and the stove. So I'll just keep it all in there. And that's it for that. I probably could organize this space a little bit better, but everything that I need in there fits. If you notice in the back, that silver stuff, that's Reflectix. I think that's what you call it. And we put that inside of all of the cabinets and drawers that are on the outside wall, which pretty much they all are, and they get a lot of heat, and that kind of protects from not getting so hot inside the cabinet, if you're wondering what that is. Yep, it is a challenge with these upper cabinets in our Airstream because they're rounded. So you can't fit tall things in the back because it kind of curves up like this. It's a little bit challenging, but I fit a lot in there anyway. We're just going to go over the pantry area. All right, so I'll give you a close-up shot of the 3 drawers, and then I'll tell you what I have on each, which, I don't know, you might want to know. So I bought these little containers from the Container Store. Let me pull this out. So in this one, I just have nuts. I keep my Pam spray, some extra little things that we have, some extra sauces, hot sauce, barbecue sauce, some steak sauce, extra mayonnaise. That's what I keep in here. And then if you look up here, there's still room for some other items. So I have like extra ketchup, extra chicken stock, extra ranch, and more mayonnaise. And those slide right in there. On the second shelf, I have Paul's cereal. In this container, I'm not sure where I got this container. I think actually our son gave it to us, but I just keep some packet spices, which I'm kind of trying to get away from. But seasoning packets. And then I have a large container. It's just a flimsy rectangular container that I can pull out, but it doesn't really pull out very well because of the narrowness of this counter. So I just kind of leave it there, but it keeps everything from falling over. So again, more mayonnaise, some chocolate. I keep some package things in here. Not too exciting, guys. I have a container that I keep spaghetti noodles in. Extra peanut butter, just things like that. Some of the stuff we've had for a while I just need to get rid of because we don't need it. That's why it's still in here. But I like the way that slides in. It keeps all of those packets and stuff from falling over. It keeps it nice and organized. And then these just fit right in front of it. But I like these containers and these things that we can just pull right out. It's so much easier because these cabinets go back deep, but they're narrow. So if you try to keep canned goods just willy-nilly in there, you're going to have to pull every single thing out before you can find what you're looking for. And most of the time with these narrow cabinets, you forget what's in there anyway. And then we have the bottom. In the bottom, again, I have another one of these. So it's just so easy to pull this out. In here we have more peanut butter. Paul goes through a lot of peanut butter. Some peach honey, maple syrup, raw honey, some chicken broth bottles, and then there's a little bit of side area that fits, and so I usually put my new espresso coffee machine syrups here. I just ordered a bunch more and they'll fit right here, and I'll still be able to slide that in. In this container back here, I keep oatmeal and some bags of extra cereal. Need to actually put this in there. My daughter gave me a bunch of things of cheese grits, which Paul loves. And then in here, I just keep some different granolas. And again, when I put that in there, I can just slide this basket in and out, which is so much easier than pulling individual things out to get what's in the back. So it's pretty nice and simple in the pantry. So in the closet by the refrigerator, I don't use this for food, but I do use some of the drawers for food, and I will show you how I have that. So in the top drawer, let me pull this open, I keep things like chocolate chips for baking, popcorn. I just have it organized in a little plastic bin here. I have a salt and pepper shaker, and then I also keep these ceramic tubs because when I'm cooking, I like pinching out salt and pepper, so I just pinch it and put it in the pot. I actually prefer these more than these, but when we eat outside and we have company or the kids, I take these out. I have a little tray here. We keep popcorns, different seasonings, mainly for the kids. We've got some marshmallows for hot chocolate and roasting. I do keep koozies in here, which are, you know, they're not food items, and that's pretty much it in here. Just some granola bars, chocolate chips, popcorn, and graham crackers, things like that. Not super organized. This drawer I need to do some work on, but I have a mixture of overflow canned goods, and in a little bit I'll show you where we keep all of our canned goods. Paul built a shelf specifically for canned goods underneath our bed, and I'll show you that. But I have a few extra that wouldn't fit, so I put them in here. And then again, I use glass jars. M&Ms, I cook with these. And pumpkin seeds. Let's see. Sunflower seeds. Sliced almonds. It's kind of just got an extra jar of sliced pickles. If you guys know me, you know I've got to always have lots of pickles. In the third drawer on this side, I keep quart-sized ball jars that are taller because this drawer is deeper. I keep tea bags, rice, and some extra little fruit snacks and just jars, anything that is a little bit taller. So. So as you can see, and we're not done yet, there's still the refrigerator and the freezer, obviously, that has food, but I'm going to show you underneath the bed. So this section back here, this is dirty clothes. This section over here is clean clothes, and actually there's a drawer on the side that I can pull out when the bed is down. We're not focused on that, okay? Let's focus over here. Okay, so this is a pretty shallow, I don't know, what would you call it? A compartment or a shelf. And these are our canned goods. So I do have some things like, I think I bought these for the kids, but like SpaghettiOs. We've got some canned chili. I make my own spaghetti sauce and pasta sauce, so I have a lot of cans of sauce and tomatoes, manwich, things like that that we can pull out in a pinch. So the only thing left at this point is to show you the inside of the refrigerator. May have to wipe it down real quick. Even though this is not a full-size residential, this is actually it's still a very good size refrigerator, and it is sufficient for us. You know, instead of buying a gallon of milk, we buy a half gallon. I don't drink milk. Paul drinks a lot of milk, so every few days we have to go buy more. I told you that I cook. I use the powdered sugar mixture, so I don't waste Paul's milk since we can only fit a half a gallon. So I just mix up powdered milk for cooking, and I use this for cooking, so I don't use up his milk. We always have a pitcher of tea in here. Paul's a big tea drinker. I don't drink tea, but he does. For me, since I don't drink cow's milk, I have oat milk that I use. I really don't even drink that. I put it in coffee and cereal, really. That's all I do. And I don't even eat cereal that much. But so anyway, I'm going to turn it around and just show you what the inside of our fridge looks like. And that's it. Here's my freezer. This is the inside of the freezer. It looks pretty small, but we can actually fit quite a bit in there. I cook a lot, and so I will take and freeze leftovers. Like I cook a normal dinner, and then I freeze the leftovers so that on travel days or whatever we could just pull it out and heat it up and it's already done. So I've got some pumpkin chili here, some spaghetti sauce. I've got pinto beans that I actually just made the other day, and I'll pull this out, thaw it, and I usually will use it to make refried beans for tacos and stuff, but we can eat the pinto beans by themselves or mix it with sausage. I've got frozen fruit that I make smoothies with, some soup that I had made, hash browns, and then we use these little silicone ice trays. One thing about an Airstream that I miss in the smaller refrigerator is we don't have an ice maker like we did in our last one, but I use these little silicone ice trays. They're not as long, you probably can't tell, because there's not another one for reference, but they're a little bit shorter, but the cubes are pretty big, and they stack up really nice, and they have lids, so I don't have to worry about the water spilling out. I really like those. I stacked 3. We're trying to remember where we bought these. I don't remember, but I need one more because I have enough where I could fit one more there, because in the summertime I go through a lot of ice. But that's our freezer. We bought a electric cooler, and usually we keep the coolers sitting outside underneath the awning, but because it has been freezing the last few nights and it's going to freeze again tonight, we went ahead and put it in by the door. Makes the walkway a little narrow, but we don't want it to get rained on, and it's going to be freezing outside, and it is electric. So we use this for food, not really food storage, more drink storage. But if we're having a big get together and we're going to buy like a bunch of meat, we might clean it out and put meat in it. So we don't need ice for it. It's all electric. And if you want to know more about this cooler, you can watch that outside organization video that we did. We love this e-cooler. Love it. It's battery operated. So it has its own battery which charges. So if you're boondocking, or if when we're on the road and the power is disconnected, it will run on battery for I think 7 hours. So And we usually don't travel more than 7 hours, so that works out perfectly. But right now we have it in the house. It is huge on the inside, so usually we put drinks in here. We're going to be here a whole month while Paul continues to recover from COVID pneumonia. And so I get a little bit more lax when we're going to be somewhere for a few weeks regarding what I keep on the countertop. So this bowl that I have on the countertop is multi-purpose. I use it to store fruit. And these are the English muffins that I made yesterday. And the tortillas that I made the other day. I keep bread and fruit in here, and when I need to bake, I use this for proofing my bread dough. And so I have Pillsbury, my sourdough, and then I am trying my hand at fermenting vegetables, so I've got some of those that are up here fermenting. We have our coffee machines over here, and then I have my KitchenAid here. This is our Berkey. If you've watched our videos, then you know we have had this. We've had this for a long time, 6 or 7 years, I think. But we use this. I usually always keep it wherever we're at next to the sink. And I just take the spray nozzle, put it in here, and fill it up. I usually do that every night because we use this all the time. I use it for the coffee pots, for the essential oil diffuser, teapot. I use this water for everything because it's filtered. And that is pretty much it. I hope you have enjoyed just seeing the way we organize our food items. It's going to be most likely very different than the way you organize yours. But that is everything else other than the spices, which I'm going to finish tomorrow. I'm going to give these jars enough time to dry. I'll finish drying them in the morning, and then tomorrow I'm going to get to organizing those spices, which is very needed, as you could see. So it is actually 2 days later. Yesterday, Paul and I ended up going to my daughter's house, and we watched the kids from like 9 o'clock in the morning to about 7 or 8 last night. But I really wanted to get my spices done. So I got all of my spices out of my spice drawer, and I cleaned off all of the shelves. I loaded all of the new cleaned spice jars with the new white lids in a bag, and I took it over to her house. And it really was nice to be able to do that because she has a big, long, nice farm table, and I was able to kind of spread everything out on her table and go ahead and switch out my spice jars. So I laid everything out. I put the spices from the old container into the new container. If there were more spices than what could fit in the new container, then I put the remaining spice in a small Ziploc sandwich bag and used a Sharpie marker to write on there what it was, and I will just throw all those in a basket, and I'll show you that in a minute. But I ended up getting them all done, and it was really nice to do that. They're probably going to wonder why their trash bag is so heavy because I threw away so many old spice jars, but got it done. So you can see right here, I've got the cookie sheet with my newly labeled and filled spice jars. And today I'm just going to get them put in the spice shelf where they go. Let's see how they all fit. Look how much neater this looks. And I can fit 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 jars across here. I can probably actually, it may not sit exactly so straight and pretty, but I can fit more, I think. I can actually fit 12. So much neater. Let me show you the extra spices. Surprisingly, I thought some of those big jars of spices weren't, I mean, that I was going to have at least half of them left, but they're just more narrow than these, I guess, because I probably out of 50 spices, I had to use baggies for maybe 10 of those 50. They fit actually quite a bit in each one. It looks so much better, doesn't it, guys? So, I don't know, let me get a light colored spice. Let's look at the onion powder. So, if you look at like the onion powder, so on these jelly jars, it has a kind of a textured on the outside, but they have this kind of oval shape that is on the outside of the jar for oval shaped stickers, which they didn't include and that I don't have, but I can get some. But until then, I went ahead and used a permanent marker in black and just wrote in that smooth space what it is on the side, so that when I'm looking at it from the top, looking into the spice jar, I can either see it from the top or I can see it from the side when I'm looking for a spice. And I feel really good about this, and I really like the way that it looks. So this is the little basket of extra spices that I have. It does not take up a lot of room, and this is what they look like. I just used permanent marker and wrote on here what it is. This is the little basket, and it's kind of bendable and foldable, so I can just kind of fit it in wherever. And also, I do use an app on my iPad to keep an inventory of my spices so that I will know if I have a baggie with extra spice when I run out of the jar. And I just kind of marked that I had an extra one on there, so I know just to look on my inventory list rather than going through all the baggies to see if I have extra of a certain spice. And as I redid my jars, I just simply put a little check mark next to the spice. So yep, that's what that looks like, and it really comes in handy, especially when you're at the store, because I can look on my phone and I can see if I need a certain spice for a certain recipe or if I already have it, which I pretty much have all the spices. I hope you enjoyed this video on ways that we've organized our spices and some of our food items. Don't know if that was very interesting, but I know a lot of people find it very hard that people can live in something small like an Airstream and still do things like bake and cook like they would in a normal house. And it is absolutely doable. And by showing you these things, I just want you to see that with a little bit of organization, maybe some modification depending on what your layout is, and you can do pretty much everything that you can do in a home. So if you've liked this video, please give it a thumbs up, leave a comment below, and if you want to see more on how we organize certain items in our Airstream, please let us know. We love you guys. Paul's in the shower. And I need to end this video or I'm not going to get it out in time. But don't forget to live simply, dream big, and do life. We love you. Mwah. Bye.